Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Tennessee Liquid. Today we're going to be doing a different kind of comic book. Back in my earlier years when I was a kid, I used to read a lot of comic books, and Gen 13 was one of those comic books. If you don't know what Gen 13 is, this is the comic book that Image Comics made back in 1994, and later on in the 90s became DC Comics. But Fairchild was the main character in this comic book series. And in this comic book series, this was her iconic pose. So someone has come across this pose and decided, I'm going to make a model out of it. And then I came across it and decided, I'm going to paint this model. So today, that is what I'm going to be showing you. So without further ado, let's jump on into that video. Oh, and there's one more thing, guys, before we take off. If you like my work, don't forget to like and share and subscribe if you haven't done that. And leave me a little comment down below in the box. Starting from the bottom, I went ahead and primered all the parts with a Vallejo black primer. I used this out of a pretty big nozzle on an airbrush, and it does pretty good. It's a cheap airbrush, but it does a good job. Now for the base, I've been wanting to try this for a little while, so I just decided to do it. This is a primer black from Rust-Oleum out of a rattle can. Now this stuff covers pretty good, and it does good. It's just a little thin. It's a lot thinner than the Vallejo, so you have to be careful not to get any runs. But the good thing is that if you have any little marks from sanding, this will help fill in them sand marks and fill in little cracks as you go along, which will help you out in the end. Starting off with the base. Now I wanted to do a little something different with this base. I've seen one guy paint this other than me, and he done a completely different base, and his base was pretty awesome, but I wanted to do something a little different. So I started off masking the base off. I don't particularly like to mask, but sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do. And I wanted to add a marbleized look to it, kind of like I did in my Hawk Girl video. And if you haven't seen how I did that, then I have an entire video in my series on how to do that with this DecoArt and a piece of plastic. And when you get finished watching this video, head on over there to watch my other videos and check it out. It's pretty neat. And after you get your silver done and everything's dry good, you want to take a transparent green, because Fairchild's main color and Gen 13's main color, Gen 13, I don't really know why it came out that way. It just did, and there it is, and we're moving on. Her main color is green, so you want to start off with the transparent green, and you put on light coats, and the more coats you put, the darker it will get. So you just put on the coats until you are satisfied with the color that you get. After you get your green sprayed down, now this is an important part. I've been using a Krylon gloss clear out of a rattle can. Now this stuff's pretty stout, so you might want to do it either outside or somewhere you get good ventilation, and you may have to do more than one coat. I put 4 on this particular piece and it looked good. And I would suggest letting your clear coat dry for at least 24 hours because you put it on so thick before you have to go back and mask it up again. So the other color of Fairchild is a purple color, and I chose a royal purple from Vallejo series to do this. And royal is one of them words that I can't say too good, and everybody has these words. some words that you just can't say good, and that's one of mine. So I should at least get a cookie or something. And after I finished eating my cookie that no one brought me, I wanted to paint the stripe on the bottom of this base this purple color. Now, I got on Amazon one day and I seen this gold advertising. So I decided I'm going to buy me a bottle of this stuff. And I wanted to paint the stripe in the center of these two stripes gold. And this was the first time I've ever used this product, and man, this stuff is awesome. Like, this may be my new favorite gold from now on. It's thin enough to go through an airbrush, and it's good enough to do with a paintbrush. This stuff's awesome. And matter of fact, I went ahead and bought the copper color and the chrome color from them also. And I will try to leave a link for the product down below if I can remember to do that. And I have to say, I was truly impressed with this gold when you get it on. Now, when you spray it through an airbrush, you may have to put a coat or two on it, but man, look at that shine. It looks like real gold. Reckon it's worth a lot of money? And after you get your tape peeled off, you can call this base almost done. And I'll show you what I mean by that by the end of the video. You know how I'm always saying you're gonna have a sad time? Well, let me show you a perfect example of a sad time. Yesterday when I was painting this, it just didn't look right. Like, it didn't come out good, it didn't look right. She had scuffs on her face, and when I got it painted, it just didn't look right. So this is a perfect example of a sad time. So I had to put it in my alcohol over there, and I had to strip everything off of it, and I cried a little bit on the inside, but at least I didn't have it completely finished. So now it's just back to square one with this head. So here we go. So after I got my skin tone put down, I ran into a problem. It didn't look right. Nothing about it looked right to me. It didn't look good on the model, it didn't look good in the light, it just didn't look good. So I just decided to go back and respray everything again with a whole new set of skin tone. I took a white ink in a word that I can say is a zenithal highlight on all of my parts. Now you do a zenithal highlight just to add a little brightness to the next step that you're fixing to put down on your skin tone. And after that, you want to come back with a pinkle, which is a mixture of pink and purple. Now when you mix these two colors together, don't mix too much purple into your pink, because purple is a very potent color to be adding to pink, and if you're not careful, you'll get more purple than you do pink, and the pink color is what you want. So when you're mixing it, just add in a couple drops of purple and then mix it up and go from there. And after you get your pink sprayed down, you want to come back with a transparent red or a red ink. Either one will work. And you want to spray this in all these shaded areas and the bendy areas, like your elbows and your knees and the neck, stuff like that. All the parts that you would think have a shade, that's where you need to do it. And you need to spray this from bottom up. And now you get to move on to where you're adding the color. This is where you really notice the skin popping out. I like to start off with a brown rose, and you want to spray this from the top down, kind of like you did your zenithal, and you want to leave some of your pink and your purple and your red just a little. So you want to spray this in thin coats till you get your desired look. Next, you want to come back with a sunny skin, and you want to spray it from the top down as well. But you want to spray the highlighted parts where the light would hit the skin the most. And you want to leave some of that brown rose in the shadows, because then that gives you a natural shadow look to your skin tone. And the day I was painting this, I forgot to take the videos off of my camera, so I run out of memory to catch this last part. But I did take a basic skin tone and mixed it with just a little bit of white, and I came back and I hit all the highest spots of the skin to where the sun would be hitting the brightest, and then I sprayed that on, and then you can call your skin tone done. Oh, and I forgot one more thing. You always want to spray a clear coat on your skin tone. That way if you mess up later on and get a smudge on it, you can take a little rag or a Q-tip or something with some water on it and just wipe it right off. Now with the skin tones out of the way, we get to move on to the rest of the model. I started off painting her boots. Now her boots is that color again that I have a hard time saying, which is royal purple. But this time I don't get a cookie, and no one brought one to me. But anyway, I started off painting the boots purple, and I didn't show but one, but the other one is the exact same. If you've ever watched Ghostbusters, you know who this little guy is. And the folks over at Scale 75 figure out how to put his slime in a bottle and call it a paint. Now this Slimer green, even though it is a really cool looking color once you get done with it, it's super thin. So I had to start off putting a color of deck tan down just to give a little bit lighter color for the green to go on to. But even doing this, I had to put on several color coats of words are hard. I had to put on several coats of Slimer green just to make it look right. And after a couple coats and a little bit of touch up, the boots are looking good. Moving on to her wetsuit or swimsuit or whatever you want to call it. I'm gonna call it a wetsuit. Moving on to this, I painted it a light gray. I just went ahead and painted every bit of it light gray. And then when I got it done, I realized this is not the color that I wanted. It was too light and I wanted it a little bit darker. So I came back with some London gray, which is a little bit darker color, and just sprayed that all over the model where I painted the light gray. And then I came back and I highlighted it with the light gray that I used before, and it come out to look pretty good. And after I got that done, I went ahead and taped up the gray after it got good and dry, and I had to spray down some deck tan because I had to spray some Slimer green on the inside, which is actually the outside of her suit, and it's peeled off of her like a banana. So that's actually the outside that I'm painting green. And while that was drying, her leg had a strap of some sort around it, and it also was green. So I had to put down some deck tan on it, and then on top of that put some Slimer green on top of that, with some Slimer green and some Slimer green and some Slimer green, and then we can call the legs done. And now that we're done with the lower half of her body, it's time to move to the upper half of her body, because every lower half needs an upper half. So her shirt had to be a yellow color, so I started off spraying it with a pure white just to give it a bright background, because yellow needs to be white in behind it just to make it bright. Now, I've been wanting to try a technique that I've seen around somewhere before, and it's spraying a dark color as a base color. So I started out with a flat yellow, which is a little bit darker color than what I'm going to put on over it. So I ended up spraying the entire thing this flat yellow just to give it a dark look into the shadows that hopefully looks right. And then I took a brighter yellow and thinned it down really thin and sprayed it on in thin coats from the top down, kind of like I did a zenithal, and it come out pretty good just to do the highlights of it. Now you can't see it because of my light is so bright in my spray booth, but it does give you a little undercolor like a shadow. Just very subtle, but it is there. And it turned out pretty good. And after you get your yellow done, we can move on to painting the letters. Now letters can be a daunting task sometimes, but these letters was raised nice and high, almost like they was meant to be painted. So I took an orc skin and started painting them. And while I'm doing that, just sit back and relax, enjoy the music, and then watch me paint. When I got the letters done, the orc skin was just a little bit darker than I wanted. So I went back over it with some Pro Acrylics green, just plain green, and it was just a little bit lighter color, and it turned out really nice. And see there's some good looking letters right there. Setting that aside, we're going to move on to the arms. The good thing with her arms is there's not a lot to do. I don't really think that in the comic book she had painted fingernails, but I just felt like she needed some painted fingernails just to give her a little splash of color on her arms. So I took that green Pro Acrylics paint from her shirt and painted her fingernails with it. And if they're not supposed to be green, I did. Now we're moving on. And now we're moving on to the final piece, the head. Now she had glasses on top of her head, and I went ahead and sprayed them the Slimer green that I used on her suit and her boots. And the glasses had some very subtle brown lines. You don't really notice them unless you know they're there, but they was really subtle, so I went ahead and put them on it as well. After I got my brown painted, I went ahead and took a Vallejo black and painted the lens, because sunglasses that doesn't have lenses in them are pretty much useless. It blocks out no sun, so you have to put lenses in your sunglasses. And after I got the lenses painted, they just didn't look right. They was just too plain. So I come back and started adding a little highlights to them, like a glare that was coming off of them. And then I took a deck tan after I got those put on and come back and hit just very lightly on the top to make it stand out just a little bit more. And there you go, sunglasses ready to protect her eyes. Now her hair had to be like a reddish orange color, so I went ahead and put some putty on her face so I wouldn't get any of the black and the red on her skin tone, and then I went ahead and painted it red. And through the power of video editing, I jumped to the end. And don't forget to paint her bangs that are in front of her head, because if you do, she's just going to have a big dent in her head with a hole in it. And then after that's good and dry, to make her hair look orange, I took a hot orange from Vallejo and I dry brushed that pretty heavily over the edges and some of the raised edges. And for the sake of time, I just jumped straight to the end when I had it finished. And now it's time to move on to what some people may consider scary, the face. I started off taking a black and going over her eyebrows above her eyes, because it looks a little funny if you don't have eyebrows, so you want to paint her eyebrows. And then I come in and I painted the I'm gonna say it's the mascara on the corners of her eyes. Now you don't want to go plumb to the end of the eye, because it just looks a little weird if you have black all the way around your eyes. So you just want to stop just a little bit before you get there. And then you want to come in to paint the whites of your eyes. Now your whites of your eyes are not pure white. They're a little dingy color. So I used an off-white because I couldn't find my skin tone color that I normally use. Now the color of her eyes are green, and I don't know if you can get these colors still that I have. I've had them a little while. But you want to start off with a darker color on the bottom, and then you want to put a lighter green on top of that. And then after you get that done, you put a black dot in the center of them for your pupil. And then come back with a pure white dot, a specular highlight in the corners, just to give a little bit different look, like a glare in the corner of her eye. And then I took a little bit of that hot orange and painted her lipstick, and put a gloss clear on her eyes and her lipstick to make them look like they're wet and moist. And then you want to glue your sunglasses on top of her head, and then you can call this model done. Hold up, wait a minute, I almost forgot. If you remember at the beginning of the video, I told you that I wasn't done with my base yet. And here's what I did. I added a sticker to my base, and I'm going to show you how to do it. With these water slides right here that you can print on your printer, you can print any kind of sticker you want. So with that world opened up, let's jump back on in and I'll show you how to do it. To start off with, I went ahead and found a Gen13 logo off of the comic books. And then what you want to do, you just want to print it off on your computer on regular paper until you get the size that you want, just by printing it off. And after you get the size that you want, then you can print it off on your Waterslide decal. And before you cut your sticker out, you want to spray a clear varnish over the top of it. About 2 coats should work, and that protects your sticker to keep the ink from coming off. And then after that's good and dry, then you can cut your logo out. Now this part is very crucial. You need to get you some Decal Set. Now this stuff is kind of like glue, and without this it won't stick to your model. So what you want to do is you want to apply this a fair amount to your model. And then all you have to do is take your sticker and dip it in water and let it set for just a few seconds until it comes off your paper pretty easily just by rubbing it. Now normally you want the background of your sticker to be white or a lighter color than this green. But I've always done a white back, and I just thought I would try it and see how it looked with the green back, because I thought it would look pretty cool with the green on the back side of it. But it turned out that it didn't work, but I am going to show you the rest of it, and then I'll show you how I fixed it. If you noticed here, do you see how the sticker just slid off the cardboard? That's what you want. And then you want to take and just apply it to the spot you want, and then you can move it around with your finger or a Q-tip or whatever to get it in the position you want it to be in for its final resting place. And as you can see, it didn't look good, just like I said. So I went back and I taped it all up and I spray painted it white. And then after that I put another decal on it, but this time after I done it, I took a Q-tip and dipped it in the Decal Set and just made sure I rubbed all the air bubbles and wrinkles out of your sticker. You want it perfectly flat. And then after you get all that done, you let it dry for a little while. And then when it dries, you spray another coat of clear over this, and then your sticker's there for good. And when all that gets good and dry, we can for real call this model done. Well, it's that time again. We're at the end of another video. I would like to say thank you to every one of y'all that have stayed and watched this video. And a massive thank you to all y'all that have subscribed. And if you've not done that yet, then now is your chance. Just click the little button down below. And don't forget to like and share and leave me a comment down below and tell me how I've been doing so far. Don't forget to be kind and treat people the way you want to be treated. Until the next time, y'all come back now, you hear?